How is it going, guys? Welcome to the most cliched Let's Play I've probably ever done. Yeah, it's Mario 64. I kind of just had a bit of a craving to play this game. Yeah, this is the next Let's Play I'm doing. Way back in the day, this was one of the most overly Let's Played games ever. Like, everyone and their mom back in like the pre-algorithmic like corporate YouTube days did this game. Like, I mean, honestly, pretty much any Nintendo game was, done to death back then, because I mean, yeah, Nintendo's always been super popular, but honestly, anymore, like, when I make my videos, I don't know if it's, I mean, as if it wasn't, like, obvious or clear enough, I design and make my videos, as if they were coming from that era of YouTube, like, before the Markipliers and Jacksepticeye's and stuff like that, and, like, I make my videos so that, like, the people who find them are people who are, like, filtering their searches on YouTube so that it's, like, specifically they find these kind of videos and not, like, super clickbaity, highly edited type stuff, like, I feel, I like to hope and think that, like, there's people, because I've done that. Whenever I've tried to find new people just making standard classic style Let's Plays, like, I always put the filter on so that, like, it's, so that it just, it's, like, the most recent videos and stuff like that, and I can, like, it makes those old retro-style Let's Plays easier to find. So, yeah, that's kind of the audience that I'm hoping to tap into, is the people looking for that. But, like, it's funny, because, like, whenever, like, I've looked on YouTube about, like, I'll search something on there called, like, something to the effect of, like, oh, the old days of Let's Play videos. And, like, the thumbnail for a video like that is, like, full of people. Like, nothing against these creators, like, by no means am I saying there's anything wrong with them. But, like, the thumbnail is full of people, like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, PewDiePie. And it's, like, so funny because, like, it's so obvious to me that there's so many people that don't even realize that there was an era before that of Let's Plays, like, before there were, like, clickbaity thumbnails and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very much trying to tap into the old school Sugar Conroy, Proton John, Scottish Duck, 17, Josh Jepson type era of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like those, I mean, if you're watching this, there's a good chance, like, you're well familiar with those content creators, many of which still make content to this very day, like, it just makes me, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in other Let's Plays of mine, at least I've touched on it a little bit, but, like, when I was a kid, I wanted to be part of that old community of, Let's Players back then. But, like, when I was a kid, though, like, I was just, like, because I was, like, 11 to, like, 12 years old when I first, like, discovered that, like, the old school Let's Play community, it's kind of sad, but, like, when I was that young, I had this, like, what do you want to call it? This, like, depressing self-awareness that, like, because I was so young, no one would take me seriously and no one would want to watch, so I, like, never bothered. And then by the time I got old enough to where, like, I presumably would hope some people would want to tune in, Let's Plays and everything had, like, changed so much. That's when, like, algorithms and, like, clickbaity stuff and all that, like, became, like, the new standard. And at that point, I was, like, so discouraged. And, like, if you look at, like, my oldest videos, like, my first Let's Play is a Let's Play of Jak and Daxter 1 from, like, 2016, And, like, I did it, but even after I made that video, I was so discouraged from, like, just how oversaturated everything was that, like, I just kind of gave up and didn't bother. But eventually, but more recently though, it's like I'm doing this for the love of. This is gonna sound so freaking corny slash possibly pretentious, but it's like I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for the love of the craft, and if there are people who tune in and oh come on, what am I doing? Hold on. All right, we need to redo this because I royally screwdoodled that race right there. But yeah, like it's just totally different time that we live in now, and it's like in order to find these old school style of Let's Plays, like you really do have to like filter your searches and really look for them. Like they're not gonna. The thing I'm realizing is like videos like the type I'm trying to make are not going to like come to you. Like you have to like actively look for them. Because yeah, just I acknowledge like anymore these old school style Let's Plays are not what do you want to call it? They're not marketable in the current era of gaming YouTube we live in now. But yeah, it's not. I just like I said, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this just to have fun, and like I talked about in my last Let's Play I did of Ico, or like I talked about how I kind of treat my Let's Plays almost like a journal, in a way, almost like a diary of like just talking about what's on my mind while I'm playing the current game I'm playing. But yeah. Alright, now we gotta wait for Mr. Koopa the Quick to get on up here because we kindly what am I saying? I just said it again. I kind of completely outmatched him. It is interesting, like I remember for the longest time, like I didn't know what rubber banding was in you know, games like this. Like rubber banding was a method used a ton in games from this era. Like any game from like the usually like N64 games, like anytime there was like a race or like a mission involving a race in a game, like the further you get away from the opponent you're racing, they tend to like immediately pick up speed, and you know, they become a lot faster to like keep up with you. But like if you're further behind them, then they slow down, you know. And like it's funny because like once you understand how that works, and because I remember there's a mission, there's a particular objective in Banjo-Tooie. Like for those of you who know, will probably understand the frustration and pain of it. But like the when you race Canary Mary in Cloud Cuckoo Land in Banjo-Tooie, like for the longest time I was never able to beat her in that level because the rubber. Again, this is before I understood how rubber banding worked, and it just, yeah, if you don't know how it works, it's like that race is absolutely brutal. But once you understand like rubber banding, like as long as you stay like right behind her, and then towards the end you just suddenly like increase your speed, like you'll basically guarantee yourself to win the race like every time. But like for whatever reason though, like Koopa the Quick is, I'm pretty sure he also has rubber banding involved in his race, but like I don't know, it's never been much of an issue. Like I haven't had the same issue with him before. Like in other, like same thing with like Diddy Kong Racing with like with the boss races, especially like Whiz Pig at the end. Like once you understand rubber banding, like that game also becomes a lot easier with the boss races, because those boss races in Diddy Kong, especially Whiz Pig at the very end at like the space, at like the outer space world, is really freaking brutal. But yeah. And for those of you wondering, yes, this is going to be a 100% playthrough. I will be getting all 120 stars, and yeah. This is probably the most obscure star in the game right here that I just got, or I'm about to get. Like, there's, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing in the game that tells you, but like, if you reach the end of the track, like, just under like 21 seconds, like, you get an additional star. And like I said, I'm pretty sure, I mean, there might be something that tells you, I don't know, but like, yeah, that's like one of the hardest stars to track down, because it's just pretty arbitrary and kind of obtuse, like how you get it, because like there's nothing that really hints at it. But I'm completely prepared for someone in the comments to tell me I'm wrong and be like, actually, if you look over here, there's this thing that tells you, and I'm like, okay, cool, I was wrong. Alright, I was trying to be cool and get this star all fancy like, but we're just gonna get it like a normie. Alright. Next up, we are going to do what I would probably consider my favorite world on this specific floor of this game. Like the, I don't know, like this, I don't know, I always really enjoyed this level. Like, whenever I think of Mario 64, this is one of the first levels that comes to mind. Alright. Alright, Thwomp, let's go. Or I think he's a Womp. I always get the Thwomps and Womps mixed up. Like, I think these guys, like, the things that he's supposed to be, like, a giant version of here. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he is what is referred to as a Womp. And then the dudes that just go up and down and try to crush you are what are referred to as Thwomps, I'm pretty sure. Ugh. Can't really say I'm super versed in Mario lore, if there really is any Mario lore for that matter. But like, that's like a funny thing, is that like, I've always wondered if like in Mario games, if there actually is like a distinct like canon or like timeline. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I did see somewhere that there might be almost like a Mario Hyrule Historia equivalent. At least I think there is. Like, I feel like I vaguely remember seeing that somewhere. But, well, come on. What was that? So, as some of you may know, my last Let's Play that I did was a Let's Play of Eco, and while I really enjoyed that Let's Play, I didn't, for that Let's Play, I had a not as good mic, where my voice probably sounded a little bit more compressed, and there was also a little bit of like a buzzing feedback in those videos, I noticed. And I kind of wish, now that I have a better mic, that I kind of want to redo the Let's Play almost, because, you know, I have a better audio quality from my voice now. But I don't know, man, like, I already did it, it's already out there, and I don't know, maybe the old mic quality kind of taps into like the old school energy I'm going for, but I don't know, sometimes I do worry that like with stuff like that will like turn away like a lot of people who like potentially discover my videos. Like, I do sometimes worry that it's like, they would otherwise enjoy it, but then because the mic quality or like there's a little bit of that feedback, it just completely ruins it for them or something. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it is what it is, and I still have to post a final part of that Let's Play still. But yeah, if you couldn't tell though, like with this game, I'm literally, and my cats are fighting in the background that you can you may or may not be able to hear them. It's kind of funny, like that reminds me in like, you know, Scottish Duck's like old Let's Plays. Like one of his like, oh, he almost had like a catchphrase he would say, like, and the dog is barking. And I kind of have like almost like my own version of that, where I'm like, and my cats are fighting. Okay, so now we are going to do, man, they're really going at it out there, if you can hear them. So something that I like to do, and if I remember correctly, I think I discovered this method of getting, excuse me, I think I discovered this method of getting the 100 coin star and the red coin star at the same time from Nintendo Capri Sun. Where, yeah, like the 100 coin star doesn't boot you out of the level. So if you grab that star first and then you grab the red coin star, you can get both in the same go. Where you would like otherwise, you know, have to like do one at a time if you get the red coin star first, because any other type of star will automatically boot you out of the level. Alright, that was almost a fail, but I'm okay. I am okay. As Flick from A Bug's Life says. Ooh. Alright, and got a bunch of blue coins down here. Yeah, the blue coins in the levels in this game are super integral to getting 100 coin stars in this game and throughout all the levels. Like, if you miss most of them, like, in most cases, you might as well just start over, because they really add up to, like, your overall coin count. Alright. Alright, now this guy should give us the little bit left that we need. There we go. But another thing too, actually, that I'm actually recording this off of an original Nintendo 64. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I understand that, like, it's technically worse, like, video quality than, like, recording off, like, an emulator or, like, NSO. But I don't know, man. I just, for whatever reason, like, I get such a buzz, like, playing off of original hardware if I'm able to. Like, there's just something fulfilling and satisfying about playing a game on its original intended format and, like, experiencing it, like, the way it was originally experienced when it first came out. And with that, we got the red coin star and the 100 coin star. Alright, we got one more left. We gotta go in this tree, and we got this owl dude here who's like, "Who's there? Who woke me up? It's still daylight. I should be sleeping. Hey, yeah." I'm not kidding. Like, almost every Let's Play I've seen in this game, like, almost nobody reads the text boxes in this game, which I don't know why. Because in, like, pretty much any other N64 game, a Let's Play of like any other N64 game I've watched, most people actually go out of their way to read the text boxes, but like for whatever reason, like in this game, people tend to like skip over them. And I think it's because this game is just such a like fast-paced, like high energy kind of game. And like most people who've played it are just eager to just jump into it and do all the crazy Mario flippy moves and acrobatics. I love this little level right here. This is just such peak liminal space, low poly N64 vibes. Like, I don't know why, but like it's kind of cool to imagine like what this like structure we're in looks like from the outside. Like, I don't know why, like this is just what my imagination does, but like I imagine that like from the outside looking in at this place we're in, it's just like a concrete block with like these 4 windows we see here, and then surrounding it are like waterfalls falling endlessly through the sky around it. Like, that's just kind of like what that evokes in my brain. Like I don't know, like PS1 and 64, PS2, GameCube, like Xbox, like anything from like the 5th, 6th gen, like just feels like home to me. And I do not know why I walked out of there. This is the next level we need to be doing. Plunder in the sunken ship. Alright. So, something else weird. When I was a kid, don't ask me why, but this music and this level always kind of sounded like sad to me. Like, it always kind of came across like kind of like melancholic to me. And I'm not really sure why, because like listening to it as an adult, it just sounds super tranquil and like relaxing. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I know why it came across to me that way. At least I have a theory as to why it did. So, some of like, when I was a kid, a lot of my time playing this game actually, so for those of you who live in like the East Coast and like Pennsylvania, like where I live, there is a grocery store called Giant Eagle, and way back in the day, like in the 90s and like early 2000s, they had this little like daycare center called the Eagle's Nest. And when I was like little, my mom, you know, would always drop me off there like when she was shopping, and inside that place they had like a bunch of like, you know, TVs with like, you know, video games hooked up to them. And the specific Giant Eagle that my mom would go shopping at frequently had like nothing but like Nintendo 64s hooked up in there. And this was one of the games, and I remember just playing this like all the time in there. And like, and when I think back to, like, 'cause I remember when I was little, you know, like when you're little and you're like separated from your mom, you know, like when you're, you can kind of like, at least when I was little, you know, I remember I was always like a little bit hesitant and like a little bit nervous. And I think when I would play this level, this music has like this like minor key sort of like slight melancholic sound to it. And I feel like when I was little, it kind of felt like a reflection of like the uncertainty or like nervousness I felt like being away from my mom for a little while. Like, I don't know, this is me just overanalyzing the crap out of everything, but I don't know, man. It's, for all I know, there could be some truth to what I'm thinking about. At least that's how it makes sense in my head. Like, another thing that, like, speaking of, like, music and, like, how it, you know, evokes different feelings and stuff, like, something I recently thought about was, how there are certain songs that every time I hear them, even though there's nothing about them that directly correlates with embarrassment, when I hear them, there's a few songs I can think of in particular, like, I get, like, this visceral sense of, like, shame and embarrassment when I hear them. And it's funny, because, like, for years I never really questioned it, but, like, there's just certain... I can think of, like, 3 different songs that make me feel that way when I hear them. And when I really sat and thought about it, I realized, when I really concentrated, when I was little, those songs were on in the background when, like, I did something embarrassing, or I got yelled at, or I, like, you know, I did something, like, to embarrass myself. That song, one of those songs, were on in the background. And so, like, my brain kind of created, like, an association of that song with shame and embarrassment. And I can think of one in particular, like, I'm not gonna lie, almost talking about it makes me, like, cringe inside, because it's just so, like, deeply connected to, like, being a kid, and, like, just the, you know, feeling of shame and embarrassment you felt, like, way back then. But, I might be mistaking the name of the song, but I'll never forget it, because I remember exactly where I heard it. It was during a movie I watched. So in the movie, The Sandlot, that was a movie that, like, me and my brothers watched all the time when we were younger. And I remember in my parents' car, they had, like, I believe it was a Suburban that we drove back then, and it had a DVD player and a screen inside of it. And I remember so distinctly, because, you know, when you're little, like, I was probably, like, 4 or 5. You know, you hear new words and you repeat them, and a lot of times you don't know it's a swear word, and, you know, when you're little, your parents don't want you repeating that. And I remember there's that scene in The Sandlot towards the end when, like, Benny's running away from Hercules, like, the dog in the junkyard, and he, like, jumps the fence, and you know, he, like, screams the S word in response. And as a kid, I remember just repeating that, because I, like, never heard it before, and immediately my parents were like, don't repeat that, don't say that, that's a bad word. And, like, you know, when you're young like that, like, there's, like, an overwhelming sense of shame and embarrassment because you don't know any better. And in that scene, that's when the song Meltdown, I think it's called, comes on. And to this day, every time I hear that song, I'm immediately taken back to, like, how embarrassed and, like, ashamed I felt as a kid. Like, obviously, you know, I'm able to look back at it and, like, realize, you know, I was a little kid and it's not a big deal. Like, I didn't know any better. But, like, it's just so, like, deeply connected to that, like, feeling I felt then. And it's, like, funny because, like, anytime I hear that song, immediately I get, like, that overwhelming, like, cringy feeling in my gut. And I'm just like, make it stop, make it stop. And, like, there's a couple other songs like that too that I can think of that make me feel the same way because of, like, similar, like, associated memories with them. Like, one that I think of is I'm trying to think of the name of it. This one's almost worse because it's just, you know, especially when you're little, you don't know what the song's about, and it makes so much sense in hindsight why my parents like thought this was so funny. Because you know you're a dumb little kid and you don't know any better, you know. So like, I don't remember where I was, but what I do remember is the song "Push It" by Salt and Pepper. For whatever reason, when I was little, like, that song made me want to dance when I was little. And my parents thought it was the funniest thing when I was little. I remember this so clearly. And I remember, like, they were, like, laughing at me. But I remember when I was little, I felt, like, really embarrassed when they were, like, drawing attention to, like, how much I liked to dance to it. And especially as an adult, when you understand, like, you know, the actual, like, meaning of the song, it's like, oh, it's so cringy, and it's just like, like when I hear that song now, like, I die inside a little, and I'm like, oh, make it stop. So, like, there's that song, and then I think I said there's, like, a third song I could think of that makes me feel that way. And I'm kind of drawing a blank on it, but hopefully I can remember it and bring it up. But yeah, guys, like, I don't know, like, I'm curious if any of you, like, also have that, like, you have songs that, like, you just associate with, like, certain memories, and it just, your brain immediately is just like, nah, shut this off, I can't. But yeah, I'm trying to think, what was that third song that I remember associating with embarrassment? Like, there was Meltdown, there was Push It by Salt and Pepper, and then I know there was a third one. I'm gonna try to sit and think about that for a minute because I really want to remember. What was it? Man, this is really gonna bug me because, like, I don't know, man. I'm on the subject and I want to remember it. What was that song? Alright, well, if it comes back to me, then I'll bring it up then, but not gonna force it. That is the thing, though, guys, like, something else I've been thinking about, too, is, it's funny because I asked ChatGPT about this, because, like, it's just something that's really bugged me that I've been noticing, is, like, I swear, not just me, but so many people just around me, like, I swear mine and, like, so many other people's sense of, like, recall and memory for, like, certain things just randomly goes kaput. Like, there's so many times where myself or I'll see someone else, like, they know what they're thinking of, but, like, that name to place the thing they're thinking of is just completely missing. And it's just weird, dude. Like, I swear that didn't happen to us all the time, and, like, now whenever I just can't help but notice it. Like, the amount of times, like, you know, I'll think of a person or a thing, and, like, the name of said person or thing is just suddenly gone, even though I know what I'm thinking of. It's almost like the part of your brain that, like, the store's names, I guess, is just suddenly, like, disconnected. And I don't know, man, it's real weird. And that kind of goes in line with, I don't remember if I talked about this or not, but, like, I had, during the pandemic, from, like, I would say from, like, 2021 to, like, through most of 2023, I had such bad, I don't know if this is necessarily the right word for it, but like hypochondria. Because I was so hyper vigilant of like what I'm talking about with like memory recall that I kept having like all of these panic attacks and anxiety because of like, you know, memory lapses and stuff like that I'm talking about. I would like panic in my mind about worrying about whether or not I'm like developing early onset dementia. And the thing too that like didn't help with that is, you know, my grandfather is currently battling that, you know, that's something we've had to deal with. And it just really disturbed me. Like it would just freak me out, and like my fight or flight was just constantly activated. I was like constantly just an anxious and stressed out mess, you know? And like it got so bad that like I kind of like withdrew from like socializing because I was just constantly super paranoid. And like I don't know, I remember too, like in my head I would keep telling myself like I don't want to hang out or socialize until, you know, I'm finally over this and I'm not having this like stressed out feeling. Like I was just like chronically anxious, and because of that, like I wanted to be able to hang out with friends without that feeling. And this kind of goes in line with OCD. Like, it was kind of like a form of OCD. Like, I know in my Ico Let's Play, I talked about this. Like, there was a period, like, a few years ago where my OCD kind of resurfaced, where I was hyper-analyzing and focusing on, like every sort of like inconsistency with like misremembering something, or like not remembering the name of a person or thing, or I would like put myself under a lot of pressure and like try to force myself to like recall and remember like a bunch of stuff that happened like last weekend or like, you know, yesterday. And every time I couldn't on command like make myself recall things, like it just became this like horrible feedback loop where I would panic and just pointlessly get super anxious over it, and just I'd be stuck in like this like chronically stressed state that was just making my life suck for a while. And thankfully, like, I got therapy for it. I got therapy when I was younger, when I first dealt with OCD, but like whenever I developed this like new what do you want to call it, like subtype of OCD, I had to like almost like relearn how to like manage it and deal with it. And thankfully over time I did, but it took me a long time. Like it took me a really long time to like disassociate from like those like obsessive, negative, horrible thoughts I was dealing with about like, you know, developing dementia and stuff. And eventually, like, you know, once I finally allowed myself to just kind of let go and be like, okay, it is what it is. Like, maybe I am developing it, maybe I'm not. You know, like, once I let go of the insistence on having certainty, then all of a sudden my life got a lot more relaxed and easier, you know, because I wasn't so freaking obsessed with that. And like, if any of you are dealing with any type of OCD, whether it's that type or whatever type yours is centered around, like, you have my utmost sympathy, because in my own way, I get it. It's honestly, it can be an absolute nightmare to deal with, and it sucks. And I hope, if in any small way me talking about this has helped you, or, you know, has resonated with you, like, let me know in the comments, you know, like, if so, like, I'd be happy to hear it, because we all need, you know, encouragement and support, because, like, anymore, guys, like, I mean, I'm sure you're all well aware, like, we are all so stinking overstimulated and just overwhelmed by, like, the aggressive negativity and just over influx of negative information and all that, and, you know, social media drama and all that type of stuff. And, like, algorithms are not helping with, like, how they're basically just, like, what you keep, like, paying attention to something negative, so it then keeps, like, showing you negative stuff, and it just becomes, like, a whole other negative feedback loop. And you almost have to, like, consciously choose not to, like, look at stuff like that so that it retrains your algorithm, you know? Like, okay, I'm trying to remember where that star spawns. Okay, that's right. It spawns right up here. Wait a minute. 1, 2. Okay, I'm missing one more red coin, and at the moment, okay. I know which one I'm missing. Okay, I got it. That particular red coin is right over there. However, in order to get the said red coin, I need to kind of backtrack and head all the way back to the tippity top of the mountain. Okay. Oh, here we go. Alright. And here we go. I got it. As Wario would say. I believe that was Mario Party 4 where he says that. Where he's like, I got it. And I'll never forget this, like, one time me and one of my best friends were playing that game. And he goes, and, like, you know, like, Wario goes like, I got it. And my friend's just like, I'm Scottish. And that's just one of those, like, candid, spur-of-the-moment things that just made us laugh our heads off because of just how stupid it was. I have to uncross my legs because my feet are falling asleep. Okay. Now this is arguably the hardest star. Wait, crap, I'm already screwing it up. Hold on. Back up here. No, Mario, please. Okay. Alright. Hold on. Hold on. Alright. Alright, this dude's all like, hey man, you can find me a body? And I'm like, yeah, just follow me, and you go down the slidey slope of snowy slipperiness. And so here's what you're going to want to do. You want to position yourself like right about here, because if you don't, he'll go right over the edge, and then you'll have to do the whole thing over again. And with that, he's got himself a new body, and we get ourselves a star. And I'll tell you what, like, I don't know if it's, like, evident in my commentary, but, like, I had myself a little bit of coffee. It was just 1 cup of coffee. It was like I made it with, like, a slow drip thing, and that coffee was a little bit stronger than I was hoping for, because it's made me a wee bit jittery. Like, I'm okay and I'm having fun, but, like, I mean, I'm sure you know how it is when you have a little bit too much caffeine, and, like, on the inside you just feel a little bit like, ha ha ha! You know what I mean? Like, I think that's probably why my commentary is a little bit more rapid fire than I think it normally is. Okay. That level is complete. And with that, we can go and do the first Bowser level. You only, I believe, you only normally need 8 stars to access this level, but like I said, we're going for 100%, so we're doing everything. There's a really cool remix of this music from these levels that I found. Like, it's a really cool remix, and like this song in general is just like really epic. Like this song just has like such a strong sense of like, we got this, man. Bowser, we are coming for you, and we are gonna beat you to a pulp. Like, it almost has like a triumphant like sound to it. Okay. And in each of the Bowser stages, there is a red coin star. Okay. Careful. Yeah, this one right here is super easy to die with, so okay, carefully, wall jump, kick, like that. And you can see in the distance, there's the last red coin. And with that, we got our stir. Alright. And there we go. Alright, time to fight a big old turtle dragon. It is so funny how just like off Bowser looks in like the N64 era of Mario games. Like even in like, you know, the NES games or like Super Nintendo games, and especially, you know, like GameCube onward, Bowser's like design is way more consistent. But on the N64, man, like they really did him dirty. Like they made him look like super inflated, for like lack of a better word. And he gone. And for whatever reason, there's like a million camera angles when Mario grabs the keys in those fights. Like, couldn't really tell you why. Okay. So, the next thing I want to do is I want to go... I would like to go and unlock the invisibility cap, so that way we don't have to backtrack. Wait, no, that's the wrong door. This is the right door. No, these are just the stairs. These are the stairs of learning. Alright, and then we gotta go and shaplow that plank, and then this one. And then we do that, the water sinks, we go out here, and oh, would you look at that. We are in the moat around the castle. But right around the corner here is a peculiar cube-shaped hole that we will do in the next part. So guys, hope this has been enjoyable. Thank you for joining me if you're here, and I will see you in the next one.